Going to happen here? Is this going to end up being a repeal and replace? Are we on track for a single payer system? What is going on here, Evan?
Well, first of all, the president endorsing this idea of we'll do the repeal now and replace later goes against everything he campaigned upon, saying we would have a simultaneous repeal and replace process. And if you actually were to go out and do that, it was the Washington Post who said up to 32 million Americans could be without health care coverage, and that's immoral. So what needs to actually happen is we need to have a bill that isn't the BCRA, a completely new bill that lowers the cost of health coverage and increases the quality of health care. In this bill right now, it actually slashes and guts funding for telemedicine, which actually reduces the burden on other healthcare providers by allowing people in both urban and rural areas to get access to doctors very early and get preventative care. The cost savings are tremendous, but this bill kills it.
I mean, I've had people, when I was on the Hill last week, suggest to me he doesn't even understand really what's in this bill. One person actually suggested to me he didn't understand the difference between Medicare and Medicaid. That might be considered a problem, but does he have a role? Does he have power here? He says, you know, he's this modern day president. He does have all these, 33 million Twitter followers. Could he be doing something more here?
He needs to decide where he stands on the health care bill. First, it was a terrific bill when it was the AHCA. Then it was mean before the BCRA came out. Now it's a terrific bill again. I don't know where he stands, but he does have the power as president to bring both Republicans and Democrats together. Excuse me.
Well,
one thing we are missing is that the American people in the election wanted to end this end the gridlock in Washington. And in recent polling, we've seen that Americans want Republicans and Democrats to come together to forge a compromise.
I want to ask you about it, Evan. I mean, Republican lawmakers want to lobby the CBO now to look at that score, get it more in line with something that might be a little more acceptable to their constituents, even as the vast majority of Republican members of the Senate are not going to be available to their constituents a single time. They don't have a town hall plan. They don't have public appearances planned. What do you make of that?
Well, I really am stunned that we've gone from the CBO doesn't matter to can you give us something a little bit nicer and help us PR-wise? I'm a Republican.
More than
the
CBO doesn't matter. They said that the CBO has been totally off the mark on just about every projection.
Yeah, let's throw it under the bus and then ask it for help.
Now they want to use it for help.
But when you're talking about Republicans not having town halls, there are Republicans who are having town halls. Senator Cassidy had one just on Friday where he was basically attacked verbally. And I want to say one thing. Republicans who do that and have those town halls are actually showing political courage because they know it's not a popular bill and they're going to get slammed by their constituents. And I think every Republican who does that, we should celebrate and say thank you for at least listening, which other Republicans should do.
Republicans have been largely silent about this. I haven't heard the leadership coming out and saying, as frankly they have in some other instances, stop it already. What's going to happen with this?
Well, I think a lot of people are not recognizing that we are in our first TMZ presidency, that whatever the president does, it's some sort of grudge or the latest tirade against some sort of perceived villain for giving fair and accurate coverage of his presidency. But what you're missing is the overall strategy behind this on Trump's part. It's about him selling to his base how successful he is. And if anybody says that it's not true, it's about discrediting them.
My argument has been he's got that base. I was at an event last week with him in Iowa. Was it last week? I lose track of time with this new world we're in. I was with him, and I talked to a lot of people in line. They said to me, nothing he can do or say is going to change my support for him. So why is he courting that base when he's going to need more than 37% to get stuff done?
Those are the base that are coming to the rallies. But when they look at the health care bill and how it would impact them, the guts to gutting Medicaid.
So fix the health care bill.
Yeah, but that's not the president's MO right now. It's easier to take a shot on Twitter than it is to actually pass health care.
I want to play with
Bob hits on something very interesting as well in that how it's perceived by the rest of the world. This is actually a gold mine to foreign intelligence services because it gives great insight into the president's state of mind at any time or any point in time.
Well, if you look at foreign newspapers, to your point, this is on the front page, at least of the websites. I'm not talking about the physical papers, maybe they are, but if you go to the websites of a lot of the major foreign papers, this video is there.
Yeah, and if I'm a foreign intelligence operative trying to run a psychological profile on the president, this shows how he'd react in a crisis, and it gives them an advantage, not only in the event of a crisis, but in just general negotiations. I think there are a lot of foreign countries who look at Trump and think this is a guy who's easily flattered and easily manipulated by his own vanity.
I mean, 15% job approval, that is the lowest of any governor in any state in 20 years of polling. You're the Republican here, so we're going to put you on the spot. What was he thinking?
He's checked out as being governor. It's one set of rules for him and another set for everybody else.
What, 5 months he's supposed to be serving the people, and he's taking the money and using the House.
In the middle of a government shutdown like this, you're going out and doing this. This is such bad optics. This is the kind of thing which I've been railing against for years among Republicans, because we feed the beast of these narratives of we are this sort of elitist party who doesn't care about everybody else. And things like this that Chris Christie have done only hurts Republicans overall, and it's absolutely irresponsible of him to do, and he should apologize.
Yeah, but this is the thing, is that his party is going to pay dearly for this. You know, his lieutenant governor, Kim Guadagno, is running to replace him for governor, and she will probably lose handily because she's so closely tied to him. So if you want to change, you know, Phil Murphy, the Democratic candidate for governor, could use financial help, campaigning help, and I would recommend people help him out.
Liz does get to the point
in the Trump administration, because they seem to take a very, you know, lax view toward optics and ethics.
So, you know, one of the things also, though, that I was thinking about is if you're a resident of New Jersey, and I have lots of friends who live in New Jersey who pay good property taxes and pay good state taxes, and they're looking at this, and they say, if he's checked out, what do I do? What are my options as a citizen, as a taxpayer? You have none.
No, and you'll go to a town hall and probably confront him and then get yelled at by him for it.
Is he having town halls? Bob Franken, is he having, I don't know, is he having town halls?
No.
You know, maybe he's going to go out and have a town hall depending whatever the Republicans come up with a health care issue.
Yeah, but this is the thing, is that his party is going to pay dearly for this. You know, his lieutenant governor, Kim Guadagno, is running to replace him for governor, and she will probably lose handily because she's so closely tied to him. So if you want to change, you know, Phil Murphy, the Democratic candidate for governor, could use financial help, campaigning help, and I would recommend people
Liz
help him
does
out.
get to the point I made earlier about the optics and how it harms Republicans overall.
Listen, members of the press, I'm president and you're not. These are two guys who both ran for president, frankly, on the idea that Washington was broken, the political system was broken. What kind of message is this from people who ran on that?
It's a terrible message. It shows hypocrisy, and you can't trust politicians. It's why the American people don't like them. If you actually go out and look what has been happening in the Republican Party and the crisis we face in terms of a demographic crisis, between December 2015 and March 2017, among Republicans aged 18 to 29, 23% left the party. That's astounding compared to 9% for Democrats.
Astounding.
And things like this absolutely help people leave.